Hello, hello, hello. It is another brand new week, and it is another Tuesday that we've been gifted. It's a brand new day. It is 12 something o'clock, and because it's Tuesday, it's Real Talk Tuesday. And so every Tuesday, I do these Real Talks, and it's just me talking to you, sharing some encouragement, sharing some truth, helping you peel back some of the lies and limited beliefs that have been keeping you in a box. And for those of you that don't know me, I am Crystal Kiefer with Crystal Kiefer Inspired. You can follow my Facebook page here. I'm going live on the Facebook page, but I'm also going live on my personal page at the same time. And so if you're catching in from my personal page, go follow my business page, Crystal Kiefer Inspired. And you'll find my art, you'll find words of encouragement, you'll find all kinds of stuff there. Life, dog stuff, kid stuff, husband stuff, other things. But my mission here is to bring truth, light, and encouragement to as many women as possible, and men, helping them to realize who they are and allow them to tell their story while leaving them ridiculously hopeful for tomorrow. Just making sure that was on. But listen, today's topic is, it kind of like flew by me, and I'm going to tell you why here in a second. Today's topic is the beauty that we're missing out on. And so I think I mentioned last week, and I've mentioned this before, that a lot of times when I'm looking for the topic for the day for Real Talk Tuesday, I am literally seeking the Lord for what He wants to say, what He wants to speak, what He gives me, and I wait until He drops something in my spirit. And sometimes, many times actually, it's not until an hour before, sometimes 30 minutes before. Every so often it's been like a week before, but usually it's like the day of. This one was a little bit tricky because I didn't like hear anything. I didn't hear Him speaking something. I opened the Bible a few times to a few different scriptures. I didn't see anything. But then I caught this butterfly that flew by me, and it was like really pretty. And I was like, oh, hey, butterfly, what's going on? And then a few minutes later, there was another butterfly, but this one was different. The first one was like kind of orange and black. And then this one was black with like white and yellow. It was beautiful. And then I looked again, and there was another butterfly that was flying past, by closer to like the end of the driveway. And I was like, okay, we're talking about butterflies today. But then I couldn't find anything on butterflies, and then something else started speaking, and some more started speaking as I kind of dove in just a little bit. So actually, I do have a little bit of notes on this one, only so I can keep it together, because it can go many different places. So the beauty that we're missing out on, there's two parts that I want to cover in this area. One is the beauty that we're missing out on in life, in the world, out in nature, out when God is pursuing us. For instance, in the evenings, a lot of times here in the South, we have, I'm sure everywhere, because God's the master creator, right? We have pretty sunsets. We have beautiful clouds in the sky. We have the sun peeking behind the clouds as the sun is setting. And if we're not careful, if we don't pay attention, we will miss it. So a lot of times after I'm cooking dinner, after we've eaten dinner, I'll run outside and I'll look at the clouds. Every so often I'll go back outside because it changes quickly. Whenever there's like some red mixed with like the oranges and stuff in the clouds, they change fast. And so if you don't take the time out to go see it, you will miss it. And whenever you catch it, it's like knowing and realizing that God is pursuing you. He's pursuing us in His creation. He's pursuing us in nature. He's pursuing us in the beautiful things that He's given us to be able to enjoy. We can enjoy something as simple as the clouds moving in the sky, right? You may not think that, because so many times we get so wrapped up in all the things everything in our mind, everything that we have to do, all the things that we have to do tomorrow, all the things we didn't do yesterday, like all the things, but we don't pay attention to what's right in front of us. So as I was sitting on the porch this morning, if I had my head so wrapped up in trying to find a message, trying to get that message, trying to make it happen, I would have missed the 3 butterflies that were all different. I would have missed those beautiful butterflies. When I go out on the porch in the morning to sit, it's not just to sit on the porch to catch a breeze. It is to stop what I'm doing in the midst of my day, to make time to watch the trees, to watch the clouds, to sit with God, to listen to his voice, to pray, to seek his face, to ask for forgiveness, to do the things that I wouldn't necessarily be able to do if I'm doing other things in the office, or if I'm doing laundry, if I'm doing dishes, if I'm like just mixing and mingling around the house, like trying to go about my day. I have to make myself pause on purpose. On purpose. If we don't make time to look out for the beauty that's around us, we're going to miss it. We will miss it. I will miss the butterflies. I will miss the beautiful flowers blooming. I will miss the birds chirping in the morning. I will miss the cardinals. Like we have a lot of cardinals that come to our yard. I will miss them chasing each other. I will miss the blue jays that actually come to our yard. I will miss out on all of those things. There's so much beauty around us, and we get so wrapped up in our day to day that we're missing God pursuing us. So when those butterflies came and they flew past me, the Lord was pursuing me with his beauty in creation, but he was also pursuing me with the message that he wanted me to speak on today. Is that making sense? You gotta make time to go to the beach in the morning. You may have to wake up early to catch that sunrise. You may have to, say, sleep. You know what? I'll catch you later, but I'm going to go outside and I'm going to watch the sunrise. I'm going to drive that hour to the beach just because, so I can watch that sunrise. Watch the sunset. You got to put yourself and your things on pause to be able to catch God pursuing you. When we don't stop and make time to take in the beauty around us, we don't get time to exhale. Think about the Garden of Eden. When I think about the Garden of Eden, I think about Adam and Eve walking through the garden with God, and they didn't have a to-do list. They didn't have all of these things that they had to knock out before they could walk in the garden with God. They were already in the garden, and so they were exhaling and taking in all the beauty that was there before them. We get so wrapped up and we don't take in the beauty. The other part to this is we're missing, so the topic was the beauty that we're missing out on. The other part is ourselves. The beauty that we're missing out on. So many women are looking in the mirror day in and day out, and they do not like what they see. But God created her, right? She's in the image of Christ, the image of Jesus, right? But when she looks in that mirror, she doesn't like what she sees. I read a comment this morning. I was scrolling through Facebook, and this comment really popped out at me. And I forgot what the topic was. I forgot what the picture or whatever that was there was, but it was somebody that had commented, and she said, it's hard to tell God that I don't like the way you made me. She said it's hard to tell God. Oh, it was something about eating disorders, actually. When we get to a point and we're telling and even thinking to tell God, and I can't speak on eating disorders, but I can speak about the truth of how we are to live, we are comparing ourselves to somebody. When we can't look at ourselves and we can't accept who God has created us to be, a lot of times we're comparing ourselves to someone else. I can give an example. I've always had like thick legs, even if I was like a size 6. My calves did not fit inside boots that many girls would wear. And I would hear people say a lot of times, hey, you got some thick legs, you got big legs. And so I took that into my heart, like there was something wrong with my legs. I began to compare my legs with everybody else's legs. And then I began to say, I don't like my legs. I don't like the way they're shaped. I don't like this. I don't like that. But the thing was, God created me for a purpose, and I wasn't supposed to be like everybody else. There was beauty in my legs just the way that they are. If I look into the mirror and I begin to pick myself apart, that's picking apart the beauty that God created. I'm made in His image, in His likeness. Okay? And last week we talked a little bit about, and it's kind of different, but it was about like the body. And I was saying how different parts of the body, we have different gifts, and it all makes up the body of Christ. Like we're all different. We all aren't supposed to come to the table with the same exact thing. We all have different parts, different ideas, different perspectives that make up the body. And so just in our uniqueness, in the way that we look is unique. It's beautiful. There is beauty in us. And we're missing out on that beauty and calling it something that it's not. We can't see how God sees us. And I want to help us destroy that lie, because comparison is the thief of everything. It steals from you. When I begin to compare myself to somebody else, it's stealing my joy, it's stealing my peace, it's stealing my identity, it's stealing who I am. When I begin to compare myself and want to be like somebody else, I am being robbed from. There's a robber in the house and it's stealing from me, and that's comparison. My sisters, my brothers, if you're watching, we have got to begin to take those lies and trash them, because they're exalting themselves. We don't want to miss out on the beauty that's within us. I had to learn how to love myself, accept the woman that God created. I'm not going to be like everyone else. There's going to be some people that just flat out are not going to like me. And there are some people that just flat out do not like me. Who cares? Okay? We do care a little bit about what people think, but we don't want to make those thoughts become an idol, where we constantly think about what somebody's thinking, because that becomes an idol, and we don't realize it, because we're constantly going back to what someone thinks about us. Does that make sense? Like, we can kind of care a little bit, but don't care so much so that's all you think about. Hey, you look nice today. Oh, thank you. We like those comments. We like those, compliments. I don't like your hair. Oh well, this is how God made me, and I'm going to embrace it. My life does not depend on what you think about me. Does that make sense? And we have to get to a place where we realize that there has been something that's been after our identity, after the beauty that's within us, something that's after everything that God created. But we get to stand up, and we get to take hold of the truth, and we get to run with that, and we get to believe that, we get to accept that, we get to embrace the truth. When we begin to embrace the truth and believe that everything that God has created is good, we can begin to accept ourselves like, you know what? I am tired of trying to compare myself to this girl down the street, to this high school girl that dated this guy that I liked, to the girl that stole my boyfriend in 5th grade, to my aunt that has this gorgeous hair. When we get tired of comparing ourselves, all of those people are themselves. Like, they're who they are. I'm sure they have their own stuff to deal with. But release yourself from all of that and begin to accept yourself exactly who God created you to be. There's beauty in that. There's power in that. When you can accept the beauty that's within yourself, within you, you can rise to the surface, rise to the occasion, rise to the assignment, and go after what God has called you to do. But so many times we get so wrapped up in all of these things over here that we're never even able to step into the assignment. We don't want to be wrapped up in that stuff. We want to be wrapped up in Jesus, wrapped up in God, wrapped up in the truth, and wrapped up so tight with Him and entwined with Him that we're able to go with Him, be with Him, have His heart, carry His heart, and so that we can be set free from condemnation and shame and comparison. We don't want to let that robber in our house. Do not let that robber, comparison, in your house. I want to read to you 3 scriptures. And about the butterfly, when you think about a butterfly, it goes through some stuff. Like, it starts out as a sort of slow caterpillar, and then it goes into a cocoon, and it's like in this stuff, like this goop and this nastiness and this like ridiculousness. And then it becomes rebirth. It transforms into this beautiful butterfly. And there's so much beauty around that. So if you look at the first parts where it was slow and it was in the cocoon and it was goop and it was like this thing that just wasn't so cute sometimes, and then it becomes this butterfly. Even in the midst of everything that we're walking through, everything that we're going through, everything that we have walked through, there is hope and a rebirthing that takes place for you to become the woman that God created. When you begin to pick up and believe that everything that He creates is good, you can rise to the occasion and become everything that God has called you to be. Okay? So the scripture that I was going to read was from Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Let's see. And that one is, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you even got into your mama's womb, God knew you. He knew who you were going to be. He knew what you were going to be. He knew all the gifts and talents that He put inside of you. He knew what you were going to look like. He knew what He called you to. He knew. But do you know? Do you know? You've been given life, given purpose, given meaning. There's beauty within you. Maybe not miss out on it. Maybe not miss out on it. The other scripture was Psalm 139, chapter 139, verse 13 through 14. And it says, you made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Again, same similarities, right? It's about the mother's womb. Like, before you were born into this world, God knew who you were, how He created you. And that was so good. It was beautiful. It's great. It's amazing. But we don't seem to see that. Sisters, brothers, whoever's watching, I want you to understand that you have purpose. That you weren't just thrown together by God. the world, people around you may have tossed you aside, thrown you together, all these kind of things, did some things to you. But as we begin to heal, as we begin to hope, as we begin to be rebirthed and transformed, we can walk out the truth. We can walk that stuff that's happened to us, that doesn't get to define us. Only God gets to define us. Okay? And so I hope you're catching this. And at the very end of this, I want to read a poem that I wrote. And I want to share that with you guys too. The very last scripture, the first two are from the New Living Translation, and this one is from the Passion. And this one is 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18. We can all draw close to him with the veil removed from our faces. And with no veil, we become like mirrors who brightly reflect the glory of the Lord Jesus. We're being transfigured into his very image as we move from one brighter level of glory to another. And this glorious transfiguration comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. We're being transfigured into his very image as we go from glory to glory. And that can speak so much to a butterfly because it started off in one little area, then it went to this area, and then now it became this other beautiful thing. The caterpillar is cute. The cocoon is cute in its own way, but it's in that messy middle part. It's in the middle, in the transition between who it was to who it's becoming. There's beauty in the mess. There's beauty in the process. And there's beauty within you. Don't miss out on it. We don't want to miss out on it. Just like we can miss out on the beauty out there in the world and in nature and God pursuing us, we can absolutely go throughout our whole life and miss out on the beauty that's within us. We don't want to be those people. And I declare that we will not be those people. I hope that this is encouraging you. This is speaking to you. This is having you, excuse me, to sit and think about it a little bit more. Okay, that poem that I wanted to read to you guys, I haven't named it, but one day I might not. Okay, so like I just said about the beauty that we're missing out on, it's outward, nature, God pursuing us, the sky, sunsets, all the flowers, animals, all of these things, that beauty. And it's also inward. It's here and it's inward. It's within us. Okay? So here's that poem I want to read to you guys, and I'll share it on the page whenever we get done, hopefully today. Okay, so it says, a new morning greets you with a smile, and you greet it with another sigh. Your joy has been slowly fading, your mind constantly overloaded. You rise anyway because it's what you do, but something inside you is missing. There is this longing in your soul, and you can't seem to shake it. Nonetheless, you keep going. You are walking through life, merely existing through life. Your head has been down, just doing what you can to get by. But something is nudging you, calling you deeper. You feel the pull, but it's a struggle. There's something else. There's a pull in another direction. The battle and struggle is real. You feel that there is more, but the comfort of where you are feels safe. It feels familiar. The nudging grows stronger. The pull to go deeper is overwhelming, and you ask, what is this? You hear a small voice saying, look up, look around. You are struck by the beauty. Why haven't you noticed it before? You hear the birds, you see the flowers, you see the clouds, you notice the beautiful trees, you feel the breeze wash over you, but most of all, you see the butterfly. And you realize that nudging and pulling, the tugging of your heart, was God pursuing you when you had forgotten what that felt like. And you hear, I want to set you free so you can soar and become like a butterfly. Everything you have gone through, I will turn into good. I will awaken you from your slumber. I will give you wings to fly. Everything you have gone through has made you stronger. Enter into me. I want to transform you. Come back to me. I want to take you higher. So keep looking up. There is beauty all around you. But nothing can compare to the beauty inside you. Nothing can compare to where I want to take you. You guys, be encouraged. Be encouraged. Don't miss out on the beauty around you, and don't miss out on the beauty that God created, which is you. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're a masterpiece. You're His creation, and He calls you so good. You guys, have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. If this message has encouraged you, please hit that share button and share it with someone else, because we're not the only ones that walk through stuff. If we're facing something, if we're struggling with something, I can guarantee you that somebody might be close to you that's struggling and going through something too. And they need encouragement. They need to be built up. They need to understand and know the truth for themselves also. So share it. Share it with someone. And lastly, we do have a conference coming up in September. It's called the Rise Up Conference, and it's for creatives, prophetic scribes, and there's an army rising, okay? The Lord is building His army, and there's an army rising. But so many creatives, I was one of them. I was one. I told myself as a teenager that I was not an artist because I couldn't bring a vision down and make it appear into reality. He's raising an army of creatives. All the body has to come together, and creativity is a weapon. We may not realize that, but creativity is a weapon, and it's time for us to act like it. Okay? And so that conference is September 28th through 30th at North Palm Church in North Charleston. And I would love for you to come there. We would love to have you there. We want to have you there. Tell somebody else about it. You can register at northpalm.org, northpalm.org. It'll be on the very front page. It'll pop up right there, and you can just hit that little image, and you can sign up right there. Share it with someone. Drive down, fly down, do whatever you got to do to get there. It's going to be amazing. The speakers are Matt Tommey and Teresa Harvard Johnson, and they do not disappoint. I can promise you that. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday, and I will catch you next time. Bye.